episode of the Funtaqa Junction podcast. It is me, your host, LA, and I've got, as usual, Rocksteady's the strong, interested one, Resh, and the beautiful, delectable, and Alaika. Join us again for the episode. It's good to have you.
It's good to be here.
Alrighty. So, on this particular episode, I want us to discuss something interesting. I want us to talk about friendship. I know. We always talk about the good side of friendship and how good friends fill your stomach up with warm butterflies and how life will be such a gloomy, sky dark day without good friends, blah, 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 blah. Today, I want to particularly focus on bad friends. Yes, I said it. Bad friends, fake friends, frenemies, whatever you call it, right? Because I feel like in today's society, we are facing a fake friend epidemic. And more people are getting burnt before they learn their lessons. So I guess on the show today, we're going to talk about different things. Number one, who's a fake friend? How do you find a fake friend? What do you do when you realize you're a fake friend? How do you prevent yourself from getting burnt by fake friends? Well, first of all, I'll start by asking you guys, what's your opinion of friendship, right? And what do you look out for before you determine that someone is a friend? Before you put that tag, friend, to somebody. Resh, I'll start with you. What's your view, friendship?
Let Anna, go. I'll come after her. Ladies first.
Okay, so friends are people you have affection for. You hold them in high esteem. Friends are people you care for. They care for you. They love you, and then there's loyalty as well. So simply that.
Loyalty. They care for you. They love you. Wow. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Loyalty, that's a very big, very expensive currency in today's world.
Yes.
Friends. It's a very interesting conversation. Friends. I'm a bit introspective when it comes to just answering that question on the fly, because then you need to really ask yourself. For me, I'm asking myself, who are my friends? But I think my own childhood friends, there's a way that we kind of vibe. We know ourselves. These are the people that you guys grew up with. You guys knew how your family started, how everything started and all. There is no shade. There is nothing that you can do around them that they'll be like, what's up with this one? Better go sit down for somewhere. Yeah. So I see them more as my friends. But the ones that I met along the way, maybe work related, maybe school and all. But friends generally are people that you're an open book with, and you can actually, relate and all, not saying the guys that you met when you were, the guys that you grew up with, but you guys are going to be friends like that because you have your preferences, they have their preferences. And if you guys are not going the same path, then maybe you guys are not friends to even begin with and all. So for me, I just see friends as people that you can be an open book with, and then you're not, there is no shade, there is no guile, whatsoever. So that's where I'll look at friendship.
I know you said something interesting, for you, friends are people that maybe you've grown up with from childhood. Maybe in that sense, do you mean the duration of how long you've known someone plays an important role in determining whether you consider them as friends? You probably need to have known someone for maybe all your life or 20 years before they end up title friends. Because there's some people who just meet people today and by next month they're forming BFFs.
Yeah, that can be situational. Because when you're mature, when you are grown, you already know your preferences. You know what you like, you know what you don't like. And then when you meet some people, and those guys meet that particular criteria that kind of flows with you, just gel. So those ones are stuff that you determine, because you already know what you are looking out for in friendship and stuff and all. Yeah. And if they exhibit that, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But your childhood friend, there's nothing you can do about that. That's where you are born. That's where, you grew up. There is nothing you can do. You wake up, you see them in the morning. You come back from school, you are seeing them, at your doorstep and all. So there's really nothing you can do, and all. Yeah. So, but when you are grown, that's when that can come into play, where, you already know what you want, and then maybe somebody displays something that kind of vibes with you and all. You like that. I like this.
I get what you mean. Yeah. So the older you get, the more, ideally, the older you get, the better you become at refining what your parameters are for what your friends should be.
Yeah.
Ideally, you expect people to pick their friends better as they grow older, but that's not usually the case. Is it?
It's more cosmetic when you're, it's more like just having this mutual, respect, exchange.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that you guys are vibing like that.
So I guess the question I'll ask you guys now is, the answer can never be no. It has to be yes. Because that doesn't feel like peace. Have you guys ever had a fake friend? Or have you guys ever realized that someone that you thought was a friend was actually a fake friend? And what's like the worst experience you've had? Like, biggest shiggy or something that, maybe not shiggy, but something that someone you thought a friend would never do to you and just did to you and like got you confused.
I'll leave it to Anna.
Why leaving it to Anna? You can't speak first.
No, I'm trying to be gentlemanly.
No,
do you want me to go?
Ask you to be gentlemanly.
Okay, you want me to go?
I ask you to go
okay.
first.
I had an experience when I was growing up, and that was like highlights of my friendship sojourn. This guy is somebody that I kind of like felt like, man, if anything happens, I'm going to have his back. He's going to have my back. In my mind, he's going to have my back and all, and majority of my friends when we were growing up were bad guys. A lot of them were in cults. And I was headed toward that direction as well. So I was thinking like, good like that. And peer pressure. This is where you grew up from. And me, I don't really like anybody cheating me. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to be just a bad person or a bad guy like that. But I realized that because, the school that I was trying to go was in Ilorin. So I realized that there was a lot of cultism activities there and all, and those guys just take advantage of everybody. So that's why I kind of like, flash back to my friendship stuff. So I think something happened and I was kind of trying to get everybody to get on the same page and all, was blindsided. I didn't know where that slap came from. The guy just hits me from the back. Just hits me from the back. I was like, because something you weren't expecting, and the guy just hits me from the back, like, So before I could gather myself, like, what hit me? Did somebody actually hit me? I just thought it was the guy that hit me. I was like, from where to where? How did it happen? Was there something that me and you did that, that you probably, that was brewing up, that you didn't talk to me about or what have you and all and everything? There was nothing like that. And I can promise you that was the end of that friendship.
Did you say something that infuriated him?
Why did he hit you? No, it was more so like trying to hold forth for the guy that I was, what's it called? That I was speaking to, that was accusing of his bad behavior and what have you. But it happens that particular guy, they were in the same cult.
Okay.
So he threw me under the bus because he felt I'm not yet.
Okay.
I'm not yet in that.
And you guys are meant to be friends.
Yeah. So in my mind, I was like, for crying out loud, me and you were supposed to be body.
Yeah.
You know, you
Dawned
can't.
on you.
Yeah, you can't just because you've already joined, and then you are thinking like me, I'm an outsider. And also that's the way you're actually going to treat me.
Yeah.
So if we are in a very bad situation, that's the way you're going to treat me.
Yeah.
You know, so
100.
that was it. That was the end of that friendship.
Yeah.
You know. And he regretted eventually because I was like, I wanted to really know, because my own friendship is very, very strong. And I wanted to know, like, why did you do that? You know, those were the questions that I asked her. Like, why did you do that? Like, you did that in public. You didn't bother to ask me or to kind of also have conversations in the closet or in a more private situation, and you did that to me in public. Me that I can, you know, bust, you know, situation for you, and you did that. So that was like the end of that friendship. There was even no, we are cordial. I mean, like I said, you know, we are cordial. Eventually we became cordial and we became, you know, but there was no going
friendship.
back. There was no,
Yeah.
That was the end of that.
Like her.
Yeah.
I mean, for
I'm sure
me,
we have many stories because women they always have issues with their friends.
well, to me,
Allegedly.
I'm someone who values quality over quantity. I feel like you get to fall prey of fake friends when you're more concerned about having more friends than having few friends that are trustworthy. So my incidence of having fake friends hasn't necessarily been that much. I wouldn't necessarily say fake friends. I would rather say bad friends. And I've had, let's say one instance, I had a lady. We had actually gone through a lot together. And by a lot, I mean we were facing the same affliction then. And we met. I don't want to be, because as I start dropping certain, the person can easily know what I'm talking
know
about.
themselves.
So let's be as ambiguous as possible. So I did have we had gone through a lot together, and she had gone through a lot, and I made sure I put myself first for her. I was like, I would say, someone that rendered a lot of emotional support. And I, to the point that there were instances where I would go visit her and it would probably cause such, maybe somewhat like lead to fights in the family, do you understand, just for her sake. And I actually thought that things were good. And yes, things were good until they were not. At an instance, we both started somewhat like a side business, right? I was selling clothing apparels and she was selling wigs. And of course, you know, you're not friends if you're not like
Supporting each
patronizing
other.
yourselves. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So like she bought the dress from me. I was like, I had an event. So I was like, okay, I know you're selling wigs. I had bought probably like 3 weeks from her. And I was like, oh, for this particular event, I want to go for, honestly. And now I was like, I was ready to buy a certain type of wig from her, which was quite expensive during that period because it was human hair. And I was like, okay, that's good. I wasn't in Lagos at that time. And I was like, okay, you know what? She had bought the dress when I came around. So I came visiting to Lagos for probably like a couple days. And she had gotten a dress from me. During that period, she had told me, oh, hey, this dress doesn't necessarily fit me well. It's extra small. And I was like, that's fine. You can return it back. Do you get? And I accepted to get the clothes back. And when I had come to Lagos, she had fitted the hair for me, but I was in a rush. I had to, travel back. When I got back to Port Harcourt, it wasn't up to a day. The wig was already looking like what I did not order. And it wasn't even the texture or the type of hair I ordered. But when your friends are fitting your hair, you're like, is it fine? The front was fine, but it was a different texture from what was at the back. So I was like, why is this head giving a different one in front? The other one is at the back. Like, it's not what I ordered. This is the type I ordered. And all of a sudden, she was very hostile with me. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not even asking that you refund me. I'm rather asking. Next thing, she was like, if you check my profile, you see that there's no refund policy. I'm like, hey, I don't understand though. Sorry. Which one is there's no refund policy? Who I know is talking to?
Yeah.
In my own profile, is there a refund policy when you came and refunded? And the funny thing is, she refunded the clothes to me. It wasn't even the way it was supposed to be. She had done some stitching on the dress. She had stained it. I had to go and give a dry cleaner,
cleaner.
and I didn't even have plans of reselling the dress any longer. So the idea that, and I got her something else. So the idea that you're telling me there's no refund policy, I'm kind of confused. I took snapshots of the hair. It was ridiculously horrible. It looked like I was this like I am a tanga at the back. So it wasn't the hair I wanted necessarily, and it wasn't even like, it was so bad. It wasn't manageable. I was trying to manage it. The texture in the front was different from texture at the back, but she was just so hostile with me, and I was so confused as to why she was hostile with me, you know. So all in all, it became a situation where I just had to tell her that, okay, fine, if you're not ready to give it. At a point, actually, she was like, you know what? It's okay. You can return it as long as you return it within a time frame. And I was like, first of all, I'm in Port Harcourt. How am I supposed to meet this time frame? So I had to rush, take Uber in the night, try and get a bus that can send it to me overnight. The bus couldn't get to Lagos due to some issues. It arrived probably a day later after the deadline she gave me, and then she was like, I can't collect it again. I was like, boy, I don't understand. I just spent probably like, is it 8,000 naira for like, there were so many issues around transporting it to her. And then she was like, she can't get it again, that has passed the deadline. I'm like, first of all, why are you treating me like someone that you've not known for the past 3 years, right? Or someone who hasn't been there for you? Like, why are you treating me like a stranger? Like, you're even treating me worse than a customer at this point.
Yeah.
So I felt really bad about the whole situation. She ended up returning the item to me and said she wasn't going to. At that point, I just discarded the item. I didn't even use it again. Long story short, even after that happened, I still had faith in the relationship. So when she came to me and started asking me for, shall I say, investment, she's into this now, and it will help her quota if I invest. I still invested a large sum of money.
Even
so that she can meet her quota. I'm telling you.
Damn.
Like, I found myself in situations where I was like, you know what? I was still trying to make the relationship work. And even then, my money entered bush. She didn't even care. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I think I've tried enough. This is a one-sided relationship as it is to me. So I just blocked her everywhere. I blocked everyone I knew about her too. And that was it. I closed the chapter.
To speed rings. And I think it's interesting because you made a statement about a one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are in one-sided friendships and they don't even know. Right? And for me, the moment you are in a one-sided friendship, you automatically have a fake friend on the other side of the divide. Right? But you just don't know. And people get burnt, right, before they realize that all this while I've actually been in a one-sided friendship. So I guess the question then is, to prevent had I known, or a case of owning ring lights and begin to do story time about how the friend that you thought was your best friend did something to you. How do you spot earlier on that the person that you are in friendship with is actually a fake friend? Like, are there, if you think about it, are there telltale signs, things that you can see, that if you're paying a bit more attention to, you would know that this person where they call my friend, they be like, say they move funny. What do you
are
guys
going
think?
to discover that along the line. You can't determine if somebody is a bad person or not. You are going to discover that along the line, except of course, maybe because of experiences that you've had, then you begin to get more careful, in the way you deal with people. I know. But if we're talking about telltale sign, I don't know if you are going to be able to discover that. It's just something, or you're going to
by along the lines after they've shown you pepper, Oh, okay, that's what you mean.
After they show you pepper, now.
Okay,
you are not going to know.
You can't tell.
Yeah, because if you guys meet, like you just met and it felt like things are going good and all, you can't say this person is a bad person. It is when maybe transactions or maybe situation
when it goes bad.
Yeah, that's when you will know. Like,
really.
Also, I think it's also good to ask, maybe even we ourselves are the bad friends to even begin with.
Yeah.
Because there is a way that we can, you especially on social media, I see a lot of people, somebody did this to me. I'm not buying all that. Really. I'm not buying all that.
About what you are doing to
what you are doing to the other person that we don't know. There's always two sides to every story. Just because we have you have our ears now doesn't mean that that's the whole story. there's something that must have happened, and the other
Yes.
person too. So, I mean,
Yes.
you can always give benefit of doubt.
Yeah.
And you say your story, if the only thing that you can do to the person is to encourage them to, not be too down on themselves and all, but I cannot completely rule the possibility that you might be the problem as well. So
Now,
I think that's
this is your
that's
angle,
where-
and you flipped it.
yeah, exactly.
Like, what do you think? Yeah, is there a way to tell if someone is a fake friend?
I disagree with him because every relationship you also get to, every relationship is the same. It just has different dynamics to it. It's the same way you're dating someone. You kind of see some certain traits that are not necessarily the best, and you may want to overlook it, right? So the same thing pertains to friendships. I feel like there are certain traits you would see. I would call them red flags, and you have to be someone who is very discerning, right, to catch it. Obviously, it's not all the time you immediately catch things early, but as time goes on, you would actually become a fool if you're not seeing those things. So yeah, you make friends with someone and you notice that it's a bit one-sided, right? The person is not reciprocating, or the person is only available when things are good, right? Or the person is always asking you for things and is never available when you need that particular support as well. Or the person shows some sort of jealousy, the person's a bit competitive. You say something like, there's some people, I think for ladies sometimes, you might be someone who is slightly conventionally prettier, and you have a lady that, receives compliments from someone else, and you're like, oh, you're pretty, and then the other person's like, nah, today she doesn't really look that good, her dress isn't that good. Like, the person really, burns you, and you're like, okay, why are you doing that, right? So you can see certain things. Okay, say for instance, I had someone I had met one time that for a moment, I would say the friendship wasn't necessarily up to 2 months per se. And along the line, I realized that at that point when I was friends with her, I wasn't necessarily conventionally thin, but I was more in the slimmer side. But she was conventionally thin. And I had no problem with how I looked. But at a point, she was like, we might just be having simple conversations, and she would just be like, you wish you looked like me. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, where is this one coming from? Do you get, like, the conversation, the leg or tail is not about looks, but she's always like, oh, you wish you were slim like me, or something like that. So those kind of people maybe have low self-esteem. They want to drag you down as well. There are some people that just want your reassurance, for you to compliment them severally and so on like that. So there are so many of these things you would necessarily say. At that point, when I started having such communications coming from her, I felt like, okay, I think this lady is self-conscious about the way she looks, right? And she might want me to feel a certain way and make me feel inadequate and lower my self-esteem to feel like I wasn't good enough or looking good enough. At that point, I was like, this is quite unnecessary, especially when the conversation is not even geared towards that. So there are certain things you would see. There's some people, I've seen people that they only hit you up, hello, please, can you please help me with this? Like, I urgently need this. And don't get me wrong, there are some friends that I have, we barely speak. But trust me, we speak. I don't know how to put it, but we barely speak, but we still speak, right? But you would also feel emotionally drained. Your energy gets drained sometimes. So I don't think, except, I know some people come, as mentioned, some people come online and they're like, oh, my friend is this way. I'm surprised that she acted this way with me. And then they start narrating the story from the beginning. And you're like, didn't you notice that? Like, the red flags were glaring right there. Some people are actually in competition with you without you knowing. Some people will befriend you just for that. Do you get? So that they can up you at any time they want. So you can see that. So I believe that there are red flags. There are things you can see along the way. So yeah.
I think to be honest, good points from both sides. Right? Because I don't think anyone has a magic ball to be able to see up front whether somebody has good intentions with you or not. And then if you start acting based on things you think you saw, you might end up looking paranoid and actually damage good relationships. On the other side, some people actually leave like indigo flag for you, like like red to the maximum ox blood flag for you, and then you are seeing it like this person. If this person has an opportunity, they will take me out. But I feel like a lot of us are very oblivious to these things. And one thing I've always maintained is that in life, there are two sets of people that revolve around your life. They're either friends or acquaintances. And it's okay to accept that some people are just acquaintances. Maybe you know them from church, you know them from work, or you know them from the neighborhood. When you guys meet, you have a nice time, you have a good time, you gist, you laugh, crack jokes, you go your way, right? And then there are some set of people who are actual friends that you can bring into your life and you can share your life journey with because they'll have your back. I think the mistake a lot of us make is we misconstrue people who are meant to be acquaintances and we put the label friends to them. We give them access into our lives when they really should be having no access, because those people, they are overwhelmed with envy, jealousy, hate, all kinds of emotions, and they will perfectly mask it so much so that you will not be able to see it. There was something you said like earlier on that I picked it because I've also seen that play out and I see it like it's so crazy. Some people, they actually hate your guts and they are thinking of how can I actually hurt this person, and they know that the only way that they can hurt you is when they have access to you. So they will now deliberately befriend you.
Yeah.
They will deliberately come close to you, be friendly around you, act like they actually care, even offer some kind of sort of support, right? Oh, you need help with this, they'll turn up, you need help with that, they'll make you feel like as if
where are you? I mean, sorry.
Am I speaking from experience?
Yeah. Are you talking from actual events, stuff that happened to you, or you're just kind of...
I'm speaking from stories that I've heard, actually.
Stories.
Right,
yeah,
okay. Like people's experiences. It hasn't really happened to me because I keep a very tight lead on how much access I give people, to be honest, right? And it's because of the stories I've heard, real life experiences that I've also witnessed, right? And so me, I have trust issues. Everybody already knows right from time, right? So I think that we are in a world where, and I've also heard people say things like, oh, what are friends for if not for inconveniences? When I was in school, I had some friends who used to say that. And I always told them that, nah, that's a very wrong approach to think about friendship, right? Yeah, because some people actually manipulate you when they say things like that. They think that for you to be friends, they need to inconvenience you, right? They need to pour their burden on you and you should take it and go beyond all extra length to come to their aid. And that's what proves that you guys are friends. That's a big manipulation for me. Nobody should be inconveniencing you for you to prove your friendship to them, right? Friendship is all about give and take, right? I turn up for you where it's reasonable possible. You turn up for me. There are some people that the only time you hear from them is when they need something.
Yeah.
They are very good at reaching out to you. When every time they call you, just know this. Forget all the initial laugh and gist. There's something they really actually want you for. Never on their own will they just pick their phone and just call you and say, bro, how you doing? What's going on? Tell me, how you doing?
Yeah.
How's your work? Right? How's mom? How's dad? How's your babe? How's your wife? They don't, none of those kind of conversation concern them. It is, do you have any contact in the Ministry of Land? That's the only time they're really reaching out to you. And then it's funny because you might not have a problem even showing up for them.
Yeah. Okay,
no wahala. Yeah, it's fine. Like you said, some friendships, you might not talk to that person for months, but the one time you guys even communicate is all love. So it's fine for you to say, okay, if you need me, I got you. But what will not pain you is those people that you always turn up for when they need you. You just realize that all of a sudden they go very quiet when you are trying to do things. Maybe it's a project you're pushing, or there's something you're trying to do, or even there's an achievement that you finally got in. All of a sudden, for them to open their mouth and say congratulations, like I see their mouth is heavy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know how much mountains you've moved for them. But then it's like when you succeed, all of a sudden they just lose their voice.
You might even say, "Oh wow, I just bagged this degree." Yeah, it's not really that much.
You get like they just don't play, and they're like.
I also think there is also the gender dimension to it, because guys, the way they keep friends is different from the way girls, the way they keep their friendship or the way they maintain their friendship. You can see. I mean, I've had situations where me and my friend, my childhood friend, we had squabbles. We went, it was, late in the night. We went, to a private place. We had a fight. Punch ourselves. By the time we finished, we dusted ourselves, shook our hands, and then we went back home. Seriously, it was more so to prove like, can you beat me? I can beat you. And we beat ourselves.
But those are disagreements. No one says that all relationships don't have disagreements.
But, that cannot happen with female.
It does. It actually does.
I don't know.
It
that
does.
They will beat them.
No one says we have to be physical. It's not about physical. They are fights. They are huge disagreements.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like there is a difference.
And the only difference between you guys and is just you getting physical. Not all guys get physical with their friends as well. You can have issues.
What I'm saying is there are different the way women manage their friendship is different from the way guys manage their friendship. The way I agree that's the case.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Women, when they have beef like this, they can keep malice for Africa. But guys, not necessarily like that. If I know that you are being funny, there is no two about it. No cho behind. Call you to the space.
No, trust me, some guys are huge gossips.
Those ones are...
Some guys are huge gossips, which are telltale signs of fake friends. Yeah.
Those ones are being
guys don't tell me they don't tell me it as gossip.
Those ones are being
feminized
now.
It's not about feminized. Don't reduce gossip to a gender.
They've been feminized now. Me, I don't... That's not... for me,
when you make statements like that, it's quite offensive. That is not feminized.
No, they've been feminized. No, there's nothing of...
That is you attributing gossip to a gender, which is wrong.
But is it not women that make women do more of gossip than men?
Let's forget about what's politically correct.
There is no exactly. Right? There is no. If and I can speak it is your preference too. Yeah, not my own preference.
Myself to say that, to be honest, and maybe it's a changing thing now. I don't know, but growing up, if guys have issues like with themselves, they don't go and start telling somebody else that this person did to me. It's straight man, like we'll talk it out. And if we can't hash it out and the friendship stops there, then it stops there. Me and you will know we're not friends again. You
Put
understand?
It aside.
But if we can go punch to punch, and after the punch has finished flying, we can shake hands and say, okay.
So if you decide to discontinue the relationship, does that mean you're keeping malice?
It's not malice again, because we already know that we are not talking.
Exactly.
Again.
So, which is what instance, when you say something about malice, for instance, there are some times when you could have said, based on the way he's defining it, is as though maybe the person I wasn't talking to again, I'm keeping malice with that person. No, I moved on from the person. Right? But in their cases, yes, definitely.
You are using the
when
way,
I say moved on,
in
the sense like I cut the person off.
No, you are using the way you are going to act.
That's not.
We're talking of female generally.
And that's what I not? I do have friends.
But you can't hold forth for what's it called? The general view of women, female. That's the way they are.
They miss you, but they form I'm not talking to you.
No, you don't get. You know what malice is?
All the gist that they've not given themselves for 2 years, they start downloading it.
No, there are some friendships that die immediately. Any friendship that maybe if you're saying you're not speaking to someone for a while, doesn't mean you're keeping malice necessarily. You guys took a break from whatever it is, right? Now, if you're saying, okay, this person is keeping malice, there are people that do keep malice, but I won't say it is necessarily the general thing, right? Okay. Yeah, you might just have someone say, if you knew a friend I had who really was not a friend, and you bring up that person, I'm like, yeah, that person disgusts me. That doesn't necessarily mean I keep malice. That means that person really is a bad person. And I don't like that person any longer. That's not keeping malice. Anyway.
Okay. I mean, let's wrap it up, right? With this final take. I think we all agree that to a certain level, we've all had the experience of fake friends, of frenemies. Some to a larger degree, others to a lesser degree. But I think what's even more devastating is when you have someone who used to be a good friend, and then or who you thought was a good friend based on the experience you've had over time, and then they just turn out bad. Like, what do you think causes that? And how do you move on from that? How do you react when you realize you see someone that was like your homebody? You guys grew up all the while, gone through thick and thin. I think I like how you mentioned someone like that too. You guys have gone through a lot, and then all of a sudden it's like they flip on you. What do you think causes that kind of thing, and how do you move on when you see that happen to you? How do you even detach from such a situation? Friendship.
I don't actually think people become fake friends down the line. I just feel like your true colors get to show at the end. That's just it.
Damn.
You don't just wake up one morning and then you change up on someone. It's just, I would just say it's your ulterior motives that became very glaring after all the facade, the camouflage falls off. That's just it. Is breeze of blood in yash have the fire yash is
so
exposed.
It's always been there.
It's not something like and you don't want to mistake it for you having disagreements. I'm pretty much saying when you might sit back, when you see some issues, you might sit back and say, okay, this person actually wasn't emotionally there for me from day one. Right? There might be a pressing issue right now that caused a disagreement, but you look back and you realize that, okay, this person hasn't been there for me from day one. Now, if there are instances where this person has been there for you from day one, but unfortunately, circumstances are not allowing the person to be, and then you're accusing the person of being fake friend, you are the bad friend because you are not analyzing the situation properly. Okay. So, either way, whatever the situation is, if you're seeing such telltale sign, if after some years or after some months or some time has passed and you're feeling like this person is starting to be a fake friend, I believe you should sit down, have that conversation, let your needs be clear to the person. Okay, as a friend, this is what I expect of you. You're not meeting that quota. You're making me feel this way. Can we make effort to make this relationship better? Right? Those are the kind of conversations you would have. Now, if you're seeing that this person is actually not necessarily ready to mend the relationship, you can either limit contact. Now, if the person, because there's some relationships where people just cross boundaries, speak to them, set your boundaries, let them know, okay, this is okay and this isn't okay, right? So have that conversation, right? And if conversation is something that would not help, then you just have to limit contact, right? And if it's someone who is dangerously wicked towards you, then you cut the person off. That's the way I feel you treat such an occasion, right? If conversations can resolve it.
I like that. So you're saying have a conversation when you realize that someone is moving funny. That's such a very women way to go about it. To be honest, I know you say I'm being joined this one. I'm sorry.
I think it's more of men's way to go about things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can't categorically know if somebody is going to be a bad person. I think I said that.
No, I'm saying when they switch, when you realize
when they switch up on you.
when they switch up on you.
The question is, how did they come to that point? Is that what you're saying? Or
no, I'm saying, how do you interact with that kind of reality when you see that, right? And how do you move on from it?
But it can be hurtful, really, especially if you have been very committed to the relationship. If you've given much of yourself to the relationship, it can actually be painful, but I mean, that's just life. There is nothing you can do about it. You can't control somebody else's action, but you can have control of your own situation and how you respond to
how you react
to the situation. And like I said, there is every reason to also do introspection, to ask, if you're actually the bad person, and not necessarily, or maybe you're just a demanding, you just overly,
you want too much.
Yeah, you have this high standard of, these are my doors. You can't, especially if you're giving to the relationship and you want it to be friendship. It's a relationship, friendship. You are giving to it and you want it to be genuine. Sometimes your friends will mess up, genuinely mess up, So, and there is really nothing you can do about it other than have a conversation around it. I don't like what you did, and that's how you also get to know yourselves better, because then when the person knows that these are the things that you don't vibe with and stuff, because they are also committed to relationship, they want to do better, I know. But I think for me, it's more so checking yourself, to know that, am I good? Am I giving my best to this situation and all? And when you know that you have done that, and when you are pulling out, you are pulling out without regrets, without anything, knowing that you have done your best, you have tried everything, looked at all situation and all angle, you've tried everything to make sure you keep the stuff going. But it's obviously they are not as involved, as invested as you are. So there's nothing you can do about it. You have to move on.
Alrighty, there's nothing that you can do about it. So our listeners, okay, you want to say something?
I actually, I did want to say something because, we did mention about fake friends, but sometimes it's also good to, know how to make genuine friendships as well. And I feel like one of the major things that helps you get good friends is your instincts, right? And I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by very great friends, really, and each one of them have their strengths, and they would be there for you when you need them to be. Not everything is financial support. You have emotional support. You have people that you ride or die. You have people that would give you the necessary guidance you need when the time arises. So I would also shout out to my friends. You guys know yourselves. You are plenty, but you know yourselves. But one of the things that I believe a lot of people should look out for, aside from your instincts, is to watch the red flags. I think I alluded to that earlier on. You want to look and see that certain things that you yourself, you should be very self-conscious to identify red flags. And when you do that, you should manage the situationship. We don't want such relationships to fester, as in the end, it can affect you very greatly. There are some people that you have relations with people, they lower your self-esteem. Some gaslight you to the point that you become very cynical about relationships. Some people have traumatic responses to certain relationships, very bad disappointments, So I would advise that you also choose quality over quantity. So many people are always like, I don't have much friends, but while some people are like, you know what, there's this one person and there are these two people, and one other thing is you have friends that have the same values as you. I've had instances where I was lucky enough, I made friends with someone, but because this lady also has friends that are so similar to her, when I met her friends, we instantly clicked. It was like soulmates made in heaven, right? Because we share the same values, we share the same likes and dislikes. So it was an instant connection, right? And I've also seen instances where a lot of people jump and immediately assume their status in the relationship without necessarily giving it enough time.
In the friendship.
Yeah, in the friendship. They don't give themselves enough time. So you might meet someone and immediately start calling the person your best friend. Sometimes it's a cute nuance, but at the same time you also have to be very careful, because if you don't give enough time, you don't get to see the person for who the person is, and then you put a lot of baggage into that relationship and you're surprised when it backfires at you. So to me, those are my 2 cents when it comes to that. I appreciate my friends too, so yeah.
All right, shout out to all the good friends in the house. And if you're a bad friend, change your ways. To our listeners, we would like to actually get your own experiences. When or what has ever happened to you where a friend or someone you thought a friend ended up showing you shege? Your bad experiences with fake friends. Drop your experiences in the comment section. Let us know. Let's share your thoughts so that we can learn from your experience too, so that we'll not be part of the other known gang. It's been a pleasure to have you guys in the studio, Resh and Laika. Thank you for making time to join us today. To our listeners, if you've enjoyed this episode, don't leave without dropping the comments, liking our video, and subscribing. We're on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and we are on X, Funtaqa Junction podcast. Just search us there. You'll see us live. Hang out at the Junction. It's been a pleasure. Till catch you next week. Stay jiggy, stay fly. It's your boy LA and my guys.
So banana. Usasa.